Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Prog Report. I am Kyle Fagala and I'm joining you from my drum room here in Germantown, Tennessee, which is right outside of Memphis. And what we're doing today is, I know we're all excited about Mike Portnoy rejoining Dream Theater, so I thought the timing was pretty perfect to show you my drumstick collection. As far as I know, this is the biggest drumstick collection of Mike Portnoy drumsticks in the world, maybe? I mean, I have to guess that Mike has a bigger drumstick collection of his own drumsticks than I do, but Mike is disqualified. So I think second to Mike, I think this is the biggest, but of course, if someone out there is as OCD and as big of a fan of Mike as I am, you may have a bigger drumstick collection. Also, it's really hard to kind of find how many drumsticks exactly Mike has had throughout his career. There's no like super reliable source for that. So I have 52, but if you're out there and you have some different ones or ones I'm missing, please let me know. I would love to get this collection to exactly what it should be. But with 52 drumsticks, we gotta hurry up because I wanna show you through all the drumsticks, and I think there's a lot of good stories and details along the way. So I'm gonna come around and grab the camera, and we're gonna start with the very first drumstick that Mike started using with Dream Theater. We're not gonna go back to like, you know, Intruder and stuff like that, where he probably had other drumsticks, but we're gonna start with 1993, make it all the way up till today. We've even got his most recent drumstick, which isn't even framed, that we'll talk about at the very end. And yeah, let's do this thing. All right, so let me grab the camera. I think you'll see that there's some cool details. And so what you'll see is I have him framed here in my drum room. And then across the way here, I have actually his green monster drum set. So what he used from roughly 96 on European tour, so maybe even more like 97, all the way up through about 2000 before he started going into some different drum sets. But maybe we can go over there and take a look at that later. But let's go ahead and start with the drumsticks. And what you'll see here is the very first one right there is from 1993. And he actually sent me this one because I've been spending a few years trying to get all these collected. And so it says, I think, to the world's biggest Mike Portnoy drumstick collector or something like that, which is really cool. So what you would see on that one is that there's nothing to distinguish it for Mike himself. It's just a generic purple hot stick. And that's why you'll see he comes back to purple later. And of course, if you've been following Mike for a long time, you know purple is his color. The next stick, which he started using in about 1995, I believe it actually is a endorsed stick. It has the Majesty symbol. It says Dream Theater on it. Obviously, you can tell this one was well loved and used, very much so. This is his custom hot stick, the purple hot stick. Moving on, this is where we get into kind of the more recognizable sticks. Once he joined ProMark, he had issues with hot sticks and being able to keep them and all that kind of good stuff. And so he did switch over to ProMark. And so this is his Millennium 2 ProMark 420 stick. This has green ink on it. And if you don't know, he would use sticks on the European tour with green ink, which would go with his green monster drum set. And then he would use a sort of magenta purple ink on his US sticks. Now his Asia kit was a red kit actually, and I don't know if he had red sticks. I've never seen those, but if they exist, someone let me know. Okay, so as you'll see, this next stick is pretty similar, but if you're paying attention, it's a little shorter. And this is actually a really special stick, maybe the most special one that I have, but you'll see it says Kids 420. And so this is a stick, and it also says Melody and Max right there around the Majesty symbol. This is one that Mike sent me. I don't know if this was ever like publicly available, but this is a stick that was for his kids, and so that's a cool one right there. But it again is in that green ink there, and one of my favorite ones that I've got. All right, so moving on there, we've got a magenta ink or a purple ink stick from that era of 1997, ProMark 420. It's got the Majesty symbol on it and so forth. So these are basically the sticks he would have used, you know, Awake, Falling into Infinity, and so on. Maybe not Awake, actually. So let's see, 97. So no, I guess Awake, he would have still been using purple. This would have been Falling into Infinity that he would have used there. Okay, so this is a stick that he used. This is a mallet. So this was what he would use for his gong or for his thunder sheet, which I've got over there. I'll show you here in a second. But it's a Millennium 2 ProMark 420 MT3 felt mallet. Isn't that a mouthful? And the interesting thing is the ink is a little bit different color than anything else. It's blue ink, and so I don't know why he did blue ink, but he did. All right, so on to some more kind of unique sticks. And so these are ones that are going to repeat some of the same design from some of the other ones. But this is from 2001. This is a Millennium 2 Pro Mark 420 Majesty symbol with a magenta ink, or that purple ink. And this was used to record Transatlantic 2. And so this is one specifically from there that he used to record that. And actually you can see it says, I believe, January 01 when he was recording TA2 he has on there. And of course he signed that one, which is cool. Don't know which song or how many songs. Obviously he beat the crap out of it. These are some hot rods, which ProMark makes. If you don't know what hot rods are, they're like these little rods that are put together and gives it a softer sound. And Mike has used that on different songs throughout his career. They're great sticks. I use them at church for what it's worth. But this is also from 2001, and it was also used to record Transatlantic 2. All right, so moving down the way, this is from 2003, and this is Millennium 2 Pro Mark stick 420 with a Majesty symbol and black ink. And so there was a change there, I think, probably to coincide with getting away from the green and the purple kits, and probably just as a little bit of an update, he did switch to having this Pro Mark stick that's got black ink, and it's still got the Majesty symbol, still got his signature on it, and so on. But what you'll also notice is that the 420 changes, and that's a very minor detail, but that helps us date the rest of them, because you'll see the 420 there was very small, and then here it is a little bit larger. What you'll notice later is that the ProMark logo also changes at a certain point. And so again, that kind of tells us kind of what the years are as you're trying to figure out, like, what the heck year is this from? That's one way you can find out. Okay, so then moving on to 2004, this is where he starts to customize his sticks for the tour that he's on. So this is from the Train of Thought World Tour. So you would use this in 2004. And so what you'll see is he's got on there Train of Thought World Tour 2004. And for me, at least, this is kind of where things get interesting with Mike, is because, you know, he's a collector and he thinks in a lot of the same ways that, you know, people like me think in terms of collection. And of course, he ends up having a stick for everything he ever does, which is how we get to a place where we have this many different sticks, right? All right, so the next one, moving on, I got to switch my page. It's really hard to film and talk about these drumsticks, but thanks for sticking with me. We move on to 2004. This is the Train of Thought. Oh, wait. World Tour. Oh, so sorry. This is actually a stick that he used to record Octavarium. Okay, so he's using a stick from the Train of Thought World Tour. So he gets out the tour, he goes to record Octavarium. And so you can kind of see the details on here that he's written that he used to record on Octavarium, which is pretty cool. And as always, he beat the crap out of that one, so he used it till it broke. All right, so the next stick after that pretty special one there that he used to record Octavarium is going to be a 2006 stick. This is going to be from the Octavarium World Tour. And then also the one next to it is going to be the same stick, but he used it to record on Systematic Chaos. So that was a little confusing kind of there, but what you'll see here is we got Octavarium World Tour, and then we've got here the same kind of stick, but this one was used to record on the following album on Systematic Chaos. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, so moving on. We are moving on. This next stick is going to be the Chaos in Motion World Tour. So that was 2007, 2008. So again, same sort of stick. We've got ProMark Millennium 2 420 with black ink. But, you know, again, he starts to change the details of what the stick says. And so here is your Chaos in Motion World Tour 07, 08. All right. Now we get to a bit of a weird stick. This is a stick that some people date incorrectly. There's one for sale on eBay that I believe is dated incorrectly, and I'll kind of tell you why. But this is from 2008, and this is a stick that he used for the 10-year Liquid Tension Experiment tour. I'm pretty sure, and I'll tell you again why I'm pretty sure. And that what dated is, again, 2008. And so, you know, Liquid Tension 2 came out in 99. And so they did, I think, 6 dates on that quick tour. But the reason I know this is later is because the shape of the 420 is different. As you'll see, it's that bigger shape. And so if it was a stick from 98, the 420 would be a different size. But it does say on it Liquid Tension Experiment 2, which is kind of confusing. And it does go back to that magenta ink. So to be honest with you, I wouldn't bet my life on when that's dated, but that is a cool stick that was used for liquid tension too at some point, let's say. Okay, so moving on. We've got a stick from the Dream Theater Progressive Nation tour in 2009. So this is a cool one. It's got the Progressive Nation logo right there. And what you'll notice is this is when he starts to use stick wrap, okay? And so it's not all these sticks will have the stick wrap because some of them were new sticks or unused sticks. Sticks didn't have the stick wrap on them already. Some of these are new sticks that have the stick wrap, so they were planned to be used. Some are ones that were printed that never got the stick wrap on them. But this is about the time where he starts using that ProMark stick wrap. All right, so on to the next one. Let's see. This is a retail version of his stick that is the ProMark Millennium 2 420 Dream Theater with magenta ink. And so I tried to get all the retail sticks where I could as well. And there's like little minor differences between what's retail and what's not. But you can see that one there. All right, and then what you'd also notice is you've got some with nylon tips, some without. So that's another kind of little detail as he sort of evolves, he goes away from the nylon tips at a certain point. I've never actually asked Mike why he did that, but that's a good conversation for later. Okay, so then we move on into another retail stick. This is a ProMark Millennium 2 420 in black ink. So basically we had the magenta one right there, and then we have the black ink one right here. That's a retail version, okay? All right, and so now obviously if you're kind of keeping up with the dates, we're moving into where the things get kind of interesting. And so this is around the time that he ended up leaving Dream Theater, which I believe was like September of 2010. And so these are two, I think, the more interesting sticks. As you'll notice, they're both Avenged Sevenfold sticks, so you can see the Hellbat there. But the one on the left, it has the Majesty symbol, and the one on the right does not. Okay, so I think that tells you what you need to know, that there was a period where he was still in Dream Theater. There's a period where he wasn't in Dream Theater. And so he has a different stick for each one of those, which is cool. Of course, after Avenged Sevenfold, he got into doing some different stuff. So we're going to start kind of more rapidly coming up with new bands. And so again, 1993 all the way through to 2010, roughly 20 sticks. And then we got 32 more just for the last 13 years, which, yeah, if you've been following Mike, you know that. All right, so the next stick is going to be the Transatlantic World Tour 2010 stick. It's in black ink. I'll kind of zoom that one in a little bit so you can see it. It's not the World Tour, it's the World Tour. Haha. And then the next one is, and if you know his career, you kind of know what's coming next, but this is the Adrenaline Mob black ink stick. All right, the kind of Godfather looking logo there for Adrenaline Mob. On down the line, then we have another retail stick. This is the ProMark Millennium 2 420 Dream Theater black ink retail stick from roughly 2011. All right, down the way, we've got one of my favorite bands. Here's a couple Flying Colors sticks. So what you'll see is he had different variations of this. It's the same stick, and I think it was in 2011, he had, 2012, he had a blue ink stick, and then in 13, he had a purple ink stick for Flying Colors. And I think those are the only differences, or just the colors, but I'll kind of zoom in on those so you can sort of see. Yeah, there's the blue, and there's the purple. So those are his two Flying Color sticks. And again, you're still seeing nylon tips on these sticks. All right, so I got to go around back to the beginning. So hang with me here. And I think as along the way, just as a little intermission, here is the Green Monster. If you wanted to see what that looks like, Mike was kind enough to sell this through Backstage Auctions to me, and it's amazing. Still sounds great. Still got the original heads on it, and I was able to piece together probably 80% of these are cymbals that Mike used, and the others are ones that I pieced together myself. You'll notice it's the stock snare instead of his custom snare. So it's the snare that came with the kit that I'm guessing he probably did not use as much as his actual custom snare. It's the European kit, so he's using the Iron Cobra. I believe he used DW when he was in the US. I think that's true, or at least he switched to that at one point. But yeah, there she is. It was a beast to put together, but thanks to Jose, it was all labeled and could be put together. And of course, as you'll see, it's got the heads from the Metropolis tour, Scenes from Memory tour. Oh, and there's the Thunder sheet over there. That was what he would use in Europe instead of a gong. I think it was easier to travel with. And you'll see that mallet that I mentioned earlier. But there's the kit. If I was good enough to play something perfectly, I would do it. But I'm also having to hold the camera, so sorry. All right, so let's move on down to the bottom row. We've got another 25 and change sticks to go through. So thanks for sticking it out so far. It was a very bad pun. All right, so let's see. So we just finished Flying Colors, and then now we're into another one of my favorite bands that Mike has done. You'll notice pretty similar sticks here. What you'll see is that the initial Winery Dogs stick, it has the little wine, like mark if you have like a wine glass and it leaves that little stain. That's what that is from their logo, if you didn't know. But there's that version, both from 2014, but they kind of came in and cleaned it up for this next one, where you see the Winery Dogs and there's even like a little paw in the O. But that is that stick. What you've also noticed probably is that the ProMark logo changes, and here's where it changes. So it changes from here, where it's all lowercase letters. It's got a little hyphen in between. It's got, Millennium 2 underneath it. And then I guess Diodario must have purchased it and rebranded it, because then at this point, in the same year, in 2014, it's now all uppercase letters, a little bit different font. It's a sans serif font instead of a serif font. And now it says by Diodario underneath it. So obviously there was need for a new stick. And if you notice, we're still into the nylon tips. Those won't change for a little bit longer. All right, so then we move on to a ProMark by Diodario 2X420N black ink, small American hickory. This is a retail stick. And what you'll see on here is, again, some of those new updates. And so because ProMark had changed and they were purchased by someone else or whatever you want to say, then they have this. And you can see there's a lot more detail in terms of the stick that's on there. But it's Mike Portnoy's signature stick, and it's a retail version of that. All right, then we move on to, let's see. I think this is a different, this is, instead of a small American hickory, this is a large American hickory, which I don't know what the heck any of that means. But it's a slightly different retail stick that Mike had around that time. I literally don't know the difference, but I know there is one. All right, so now we move into something a little bit more interesting. This is the Transatlantic stick from 2014. This has teal ink, so this would have been the Kaleidoscope tour. And so obviously, if you know the Kaleidoscope album, there's green on that album cover. So I've got a couple sticks from that. And what you'll notice is the stick wrap. There's nothing special about it. He actually sent me some stick wrap, and there's different colors. And I think on one of the Flying Colors cycles, he'd have different colors and threw those out. And I was going to try to collect one of each color, but he was like, man, it's just stick wrap, so I didn't bother doing that. But you'll see kind of all the different colors of stick wrap that you could apply to those. And I guess you could kind of cheat it if you really wanted to. All right, so then we're moving on to another hot rod stick. This is from the 2014 Winery Dogs tour. This is actually one that I bought, probably the first Mike Portnoy drumstick that I had, because I started listening to Mike as a teenager on Scenes from Memory tour, and I had gone to a couple of the concerts, but never caught a stick or anything like that. And so this was for sale at the merch table when I saw the Winery Dogs at, I believe, Mike's first concert ever in the state of Arkansas. It was in Little Rock at a place called Juanita's. Still one of the best concerts I've ever seen. And I was able to buy this stick. And so this means a lot to me, because I really think this is the first one that I ever had right here. So, but as you can see, it's been used and abused, as Mike says. All right, so moving on, we have got a Flying Colors blue ink stick. This is from 2014. Okay, I'll kind of zoom in on this one. This one has obviously been used on stage, and it's got the white stick wrap. And of course, I guess I could have mentioned this earlier, but if you know anything about Mike, you know that his left-hand stick, he plays with the butt end of the stick to give it a thicker sound. A lot of drummers do that. And then in his right hand, then the stick wrap is on the opposite side. So he uses the tip of the stick to get more detail and definition on the ride and hi-hat and so on. And so these aren't actually all hung correctly. I tried to explain this to the person who hung these and put these together for me, but they obviously missed that detail, and I'm too lazy to go in and flip them all around and so on. But you get the point, and if you're obsessive compulsive like me, it probably bothers you. Okay, so moving on, and we're almost there. Thank you for your patience. This is the Metal Allegiance stick, and so obviously if you know Metal Allegiance, that's something Mike started doing, and they're going to be celebrating, I think, their 10-year anniversary coming up. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's a couple sticks, if there's some that I don't have. I think he did some special ones for like a cruise. I think if there's a stick I don't have, there might be a Metal Allegiance stick that I don't have. And before it was called Metal Allegiance, it was Metal Masters. They did some concerts. And so if there's one floating around there, it's probably that. But this is from 2015, Metal Allegiance stick. You can see the MA logo with Mike Portnoy, again with the Pro Mark by Diodario, still with a nylon tip. And we're moving on. This next set of sticks is the Mike Portnoy ambergram sticks. And so in 2015, that's when he introduced his now, I think, famous ambergram, which if you don't know what an ambergram is, go read, what's the book, not the Da Vinci Code, but the other one that came before that uses ambigrams. Anyway, I digress. I can't think of it as I'm filming this. But anyway, it looks both ways, both directions or whatever. So I think, this is, at least in my mind, this is like, Mike lost the Majesty symbol from his sticks with the departure from Dream Theater. And this kind of replaced that in some sense for him, is to have this ambergram. And it shows up on pretty much every other stick from here on. Okay, so the next one is a special stick. This is a one-off stick that he did with Metal Allegiance, and it is from a Best Buy theater show on September 17th, 2015. It's in black ink, and it's signed here. But this is one that I actually found on eBay, and I didn't know it existed. And I don't know how many other ones he did like that, where he just did a one-off stick. And to be honest, that might be the only one that I'm aware of where he just did a single stick for a single show. But if I'm incorrect in that, please comment and tell me how dumb I am. Okay, all right, so look, we had all these hickory wood sticks, and now all of a sudden we get into the black sticks. So from here on out, with I don't think any exceptions, every stick is now a colored stick. So I don't know if this is a thing where ProMark just started doing this, and he's like, yeah, this is really cool. I actually think his prettiest sticks are these full color ones. And what you'll also have noticed, starting with this special September 2015 stick, he is now into wood tips instead of nylon tips. And so that's a pretty big change too. Still doing the stick wrap and so on. But this stick here is Pro Mark by Diodario 420X Winery Dogs black stick. You'll see, again, the Winery Dogs logo without the little wine stains, with the little paw in there. It's a cool stick. That one's been stage used. And now we have, from, let's see, 2016, a Metal Allegiance black stick. So we've got same kind of Metal Allegiance logo there. And then moving on down the line, we get into, this is a retail stick. Okay, so this is, it's got active grip, which is this thing like where your hands start to sweat. It's supposed to grip a little bit better. I've used it. I don't really notice it that much, but it's also got this little thing here, which I don't exactly know what that's supposed to be. You'll see those on some other sticks. I have no idea why they have that on this stick, but it's on there. And then on down the line, we get into an ambergram stick that's got white ink. So another like slight variation from previous ones. If you recall, there was the hickory stick that had the ambergram. This is a black stick now that has the ambergram on it. And then here's a cool stick. I really like this one. This is from his time in Twisted Sister. And so if I had to pick a prettiest stick, I don't know, this is in the running, because I just love that pink against the black, and I love the details on this, where you got both Twisted Sister logos, you got Mike's name in pink, and I just think it was cool just all together that he was able to do that. And yeah, that's a cool one to me. All right, so into 2018 now. So we jump from 2016 to 2018. We get into Sons of Apollo, okay? What you'll see here is Sons of Apollo. I think this one is in silver ink. There's another one coming up that I believe is in white ink, but this is our Sons of Apollo stick, 420X stick. It's got that little thing here, which I don't know what the heck that is. So maybe somebody will tell me. It looks like a gasket or something. All right, moving on, we have, let's see, this is 2018. This is a black stick with the ambergram on it, but this one was used specifically to record Born to Run on Neil Morris Band's The Great Adventure. Okay, so you can kind of see he's written on here that it says NMB, Born to Run. This is a specific stick that he used to record that song, and in keeping with tradition, he broke it. So he recorded on some part of it, I guess. All right, so now we get into a stick that was used actually for the Neil Morse Band. This is from 2019. And so you'll see the Neil Morse Band, kind of the logo established in keeping with the Similitude of a Dream kind of stylizing of the logo there, that kind of worn book look. All right. And then we're going to come around and we're going to wrap up with this orange wrap stick, which is another kind of unique one here. This is a stick that he used on the music video for More by Flying Colors. If you've seen that, they have like the glow-in-the-dark paint on, and these are the sticks that he used in that music video. So that's another cool one. So thanks to Mike for sending me that. Okay, into 2019 now, we have a Flying Colors stick. So you again see, now he actually has color on it and uses this cool kind of checkered, almost looks like an old Vans shoe, like what Mike wears, with a signature on it. This is the Flying Colors stick from that era. We are now into Sons of Apollo, where it's a black stick with white ink, which I know is not much of a difference, but that's how you know what year they're from, okay? So this is from 2020, and if anyone remembers what happened in 2020, that's when all hell broke loose, okay? So this would have been like early part of 2020, and if you recall, Sons of Apollo were on tour in Europe, and they actually canceled their tour about a week before other people started canceling. So they were pretty early on that, and it was wise because they were able to get back to the U.S. where some other bands got stuck over there. So obviously during that time of COVID and lockdown, a lot changed, and there was less activity from Mike, at least in terms of tours and stuff, but he was recording. This is, of course, when he got back together with John Petrucci and did the solo album. This is when he did a lot of really cool lockdown videos and covers and things like that. And of course, Mike being a creator, he kept creating. And so these are actually the sticks that he used to record the song Terminal Velocity from John Petrucci's album Terminal Velocity, which, no lie, is one of my favorite instrumental records of all time. I think it's fantastic. And I just remember being so excited to get that album during that time. Okay, so this is another really special one for me, at least. There's a lot of good memories in this one. I was able to go to Morse Fest 2020 lockdown. As you can see, there's a branded mask there. I think there was like 34 of us who went, and it was like the only concert that I had seen. I like to go see, 15 to 20 concerts a year. Love to see more, but that's about as much as I can manage. And this was the only one I think I saw that year. Maybe I saw another one like in January that year, but I was desperate to see a concert, and I think as a band they were desperate to play a concert, and it was amazing. And he actually handed me this stick. Handed me 2 sticks. I gave one to my older brother, and I kept this one during that show. He came up to a drum set at the front of the stage, kind of in the middle of the set, and handed me these, which was really cool. So I have memorialized that here. All right, last 2 that are framed. This first one is from 2022. This is a purple stick with white ink. This is a Neil Morse Band logo, and you'll see that it is their updated logo when they changed to being NMB instead of Neil Morse Band. And this one is signed. And then this last one here, this white stick with the little checkered stick wrap is going to be from the John Petrucci tour. So in 2022, I got to see them in Orlando on that tour. It was really cool. They sounded great. And then I'll come back to the front for the final 2 sticks. If you've been sticking around for a 30-minute drumstick video, you are a real fan, and I salute you. Okay, so this stick here is from the John Petrucci tour. And so again, for these tours, some of them, if it's like a shorter run, he doesn't do a custom stick. And I don't know how he makes that decision, but this is from, again, John Petrucci 2022. This is just his purple stick with his ambergram logo on it. And then the last one that I have, the last one in the mix is this Winery Dogs. Really cool stick. This would be another one that I think is one of the coolest one. He has black with the red Winery Dogs on it. Okay, so that's what we have. Those are all the sticks. That's from 2023. This is the most recent one. Now, what will be the next stick? I have no idea. I would have to venture to guess there will be a Dream Theater stick at a certain point. Obviously, maybe he'll do a 10-year anniversary Metal Allegiance stick. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm excited to see how many more sticks Mike has. Hoping for, many dozen more. I don't know where I'm going to put them. I'm going to run out of space eventually. But it's just been really cool to be able to collect these. And again, thanks to Mike for all his help. Thanks also to forum members who've helped me kind of with identifying some sticks. And I hope you enjoy this. Oh, and if you didn't notice, this is one of his tour, of course, I would say something I don't know how to describe. This is from when he goes on tour. This is one of his drum cases that he would travel with. He had 3 of these, and so I've got 3 of them around the house. But there was still like, water bottles from back in the day when he would play and weird infinity symbol things that he had set up around his drum kit. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. There will not be another video like this. This is definitely a one-off. But if you have any information on sticks that I may be missing, definitely let me know. I would love to try to get everything that I can collect from the guy. Oh, and I will end with one other kind of cool thing. This will be the cherry on the top for the video. One of my favorite pieces of memorabilia from Mike is this drum head right here. This is his kick drum head that was used on a ton of stuff. And so this is from Radiant Records. This is the Mike Portnoy studio drum head. It was used on all these albums. Sola Scriptura from 2007 rather, all the way through Transatlantic, Flying Colors, NMB, and then even on the Morris Portnoy George cover albums. So there you go. But pretty cool stuff. And yeah, Steve Vai, thanks to you for watching. And y'all have a good one. We'll see you later.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on all our socials and on progreport.com for all your news, interviews, reviews, and more. And we'll see you again real soon.